Let's go!
What's going on, people? Welcome to another episode of the Off the Ball podcast with me, your host, Chris LeBron. I am also the owner of the Off the Ball Network, so make sure to check out offtheballnetwork.com. OTB_network on Twitter. Follow us on YouTube. Give us a like and all that. But on this episode, I'm going to dive into, I did a little article a few months back talking about the greatest high school players to make the leap into the NBA. I did a top 20. And on today's podcast, I'm going to go over that list that I made and give you my best top high school players to the NBA. I've always had a fascination with the whole high school's basketball scene. I remember doing a paper back in the day on high school basketball players making the leap to the NBA, and I did it on actually Kendrick Perkins of all people. I did it on Kendrick Perkins. Got an A on it, by the way. Got an A on that paper. And I just went over the pros and cons of high school kids going to the league and maybe the benefits of going to college for some. Because, even when I wrote this back in 2002, right? I think, yeah, 2002, that's when high school kids were making the leap and all that. We had a little bit of, we had a little bit of, intel on, bust and success stories. Obviously, I mean, 2002, KG, Kobe, T-Mac, LeBron wasn't there yet. That was the next year. But who else was a few guys. I mean, and then we had more, some more guys who weren't having that as much success. But I wrote it on a Kendrick Perkins because I had big into the recruiting and all, even back then. And I remember him hearing that he's gonna go to the draft. No, it's just 2003. So this is So this is 2003 heading into this is 8th grade. So I was in 8th grade in 2003. So yeah, I remember hearing about Kendrick Perkins, and I don't know why he stood out, not LeBron and all that, but Kendrick stood out to me. So I wrote a paper on him, why he should go pro, and then the pros and cons of both. So, but in this episode, I'm gonna give you my top 20. I'm gonna give you my top 20 and just some side notes. All right. So Moses Malone technically isn't a high school to the NBA. Now I'm doing NBA. He was in the ABA. He got drafted from the high school to the ABA in 1974 to the Utah Star. So he is not on the list. So he's not strictly just to the NBA. Shawn Kemp is another person I go, technically he was in college. He just didn't play in college. But I'm counting that because technically he was in college. So he's not on the list. A couple other notes. The first two players to get drafted from high school to the NBA were Darryl Dawkins, who was another 5 pick from the 76ers in 1975. And Bill Willoughby, who was in the second round, same year, the 19th pick in the second round by the Atlanta Hawks. And high school players not in the draft after 2005 were not allowed in the draft. That was the last year. And I kind of changed a lot of, I remember that next draft, that was such a weird draft to it's kind of like the COVID draft in 2020. Like, it was hard to evaluate guys. Guys were getting picked probably higher than they should be because they weren't high school guys. I remember, I think like Sheldon Williams was like a top 5 pick, and Sheldon Williams, I'm a Duke guy. See me rocking my Duke stuff. He was not a top 5 pick. I think JJ was in that draft too, JJ Redick and all. But a lot of guys got drafted a lot higher than they really probably. I think that's Bargnani draft, I believe. A lot of guys. So I'm gonna go with my honorable mentions first, and then go into my top 20 from 20 all the way up to number 1, and we'll see if you guys agree with my list. So let's go right with it. So 5 who missed my top 20 list. Going with the first with my 5th miss, Andre Bloch, who was a 2nd round pick from the Washington Wizards. I'm going to go with Gerald Green, who was an 18th pick from the Boston Celtics. Deshaun Stevenson at one point was compared to Michael freaking Jordan. NBA draft now, I'm never going to forget you for that. I remember that very vividly, compared to Michael Jordan. That was crazy. Eddie Curry, uh, number 4 pick to the Chicago Bulls, former New York Knicks legend, had that really one good year with the Knicks. Darius Miles, number 3 pick in the 2000 draft from the Portland Trail Blazers. It would have been cool to see, how his career would have went if he didn't have all those injuries. But he was my last, my first out. If you want to do like college basketball, first in, first out. He was my first out, Darius Miles. I remember on the Clippers and all that. It was a lot of fun watching him play, but he misses out. So let's go into it. Number 20, Andrew Bynum. He was the number 10 pick to the Los Angeles Lakers out of St. Joseph's High School. Played there with the Lakers for till 2012 with the Sixer, Cavalier, Pacer, one-time All-Star, two-time NBA champion, All NBA in 11-12, which, I mean, there was people saying he might be better than Dwight Howard. Just never put in, just the effort wasn't there. Then he had a lot of injuries, at the end. But Andrew Bynum, I think he was the youngest pick ever. At one point, I mean, remember that game he had against Shaq, going back at it, young and going at it. But, Bynum was supposed to be that next great big. And we saw glimpses. Of that great, of a potential great big, a potential hole, the next great Laker big. But injuries and just it didn't look like he give that much effort and all that. But Andrew Bynum is number 20 on my list of top 20 high school guys to go to the NBA. Number 19, Shawn Livingston. He was a number 4 pick from the Los Angeles Clippers out of Peoria Central. He was a Clipper from 04 to 08. Played for the Heat after that. Obviously, we all know about the gruesome knee injury he had that almost lost his leg. He almost lost his leg. That's how bad that injury. That was the most devastating injury you've ever seen in NBA history. Just was a brutal injury and really hampered his career. And for all, it should have ended his career. But he was persistent, kept working, made a comeback with the Heat, Thunder, bounced around a little bit. And then, obviously we know what he did, finding a home for I think 5 years with Golden State, 3-time NBA champion. Just, the fact that he's able to have this long of a career without, after that gruesome injury, it is a testament to his dedication and hard work. He was supposed to go to Duke coming out of high school, wound up finding it, got the, a note that he's going to be a top 5 pick. So obviously you hear top 5, you probably got to go. So big shout out to Livingston for panning out a real good career. I know some people may be disappointed in his career and all that, and early, shooting struggles and all that, but he wound up panning out a really solid, 15-year career in the league. So, shout out to Livingston for having a great career, after that brutal injury. Coming in at number 18, Darryl Dawkins. He was a number 5 pick from the 76ers in 1979 by the Maynard Evans. Played with the Sixers, the New Jersey Nets, the Utah Jazz, the Detroit Pistons. Was, him, Chocolate Thunder, just destroying backboards and all that. He was an absolute, rim shaker. He was just that dude. And like I said, one of the first true, and high school to the NBA player. So definitely a trailblazer, in that regards, and had a very, very solid NBA career. Coming in at number 17, Josh Smith, number 17 pick from the Atlanta Hawks in 2004 out of the famous Oak Hill Academy. Played with the Hawks from 04 to 13 and wound up signing a nice deal with the Pistons. Played with the Rockets and finished his career off with the New Orleans Pelicans. Was a all-rookie member and a all-defensive team member in 2009. Someone that kind of did a little bit of everything. Slasher, just so long and all that, athletic. He was someone that people thought was just going to be a superstar, and definitely didn't hit superstar status in the league. But Josh was a hell of a player, and just one of the more exciting players that we've seen. You know, the shooting never came along like that, but Josh Smith was just someone that was just so much fun to watch at times, and you know, he definitely was one of the first people that I was reading about in the magazines and on online, on Rivals and all that, finding out, you know, um, who's the next up and coming guys, and Josh Smith is one of those legends for me. So Josh Smith comes in at number 17 on my high school to NBA list. Coming in at number 16, Al Harrington, a product of St. Patrick's High School, was the number 25th pick by the Indiana Pacers in 1998. He had, played with a bunch of teams, thought I've started the Pacers and all that. Hawks, Warriors, New York Knicks, Denver Nuggets. He was just a bucket, man. I remember those battles with him and Paul Pierce. He was just that, that special of a scorer and all that. And played, well, I think 9 years. How many years in the league he played? Played not 9 years. Played over 10 years in the league. Had a really solid career. Like I said, just a great scorer. Some fun battles with Paul Pierce. Especially when he was on the Knicks. Playing against the Celtics and all that. I believe he was on the We Believe. I could be wrong, but he was on the We Believe Warriors team, I believe. But just a great player. I could be wrong on that. I mean, maybe it was the year after, but just a solid, just 6'8", 6'9", can handle, can score from anywhere. Just one of the more underrated scorers in the NBA that we've seen. Coming in at number 15, the guy I mentioned before that I wrote a paper on and got an A on, Kendrick Perkins. Number 27th pick by the Memphis Grizzlies in 2003, the famous 2003 NBA draft out of Clifton J. Osden. Obviously was a member of the Boston Celtics, won a world championship with the Boston Celtics. Slow start to his career in Boston, but picked up and finally, that's something we've seen a lot. You see a lot of high school kids. It's the slow starts, especially pre-2003 and all that. Like you said, a lot of slow starts, especially if you were in the 90s. We'll get to a few guys later on who had slow starts, but slow start, but definitely picked up, then got traded. Then wound up going to Oklahoma City, helping them go to the finals. Got a nice deal there. Ended his career with the Pelicans, but he's a world champion, solid big, especially in his stint with Boston and in Oklahoma City, helped those two teams big time in his stints there. But he comes in at number 15. Number 14, Al Jefferson was the number 15th pick from the Boston Celtics in 2004, coming out of Prentice. Another just underrated scorer and big, was a part of the KG trade that wound up him going to the Minnesota Timberwolves. And just a solid big, just good feet, good footwork, can score. All rookie team, all NBA in 13-14. Just just as solid as they can come. For the Timberwolves, for the Utah Jazz, just as solid as they can come. As my phone just falls. But finished his career off with the Pacers in 18, but just solid big, just very good, very, very fundamentals, and just can score. But he's at number 14. Now coming in at number 13, another bucket getter, Monte Ellis, a second round pick, number 40th to the Golden State Warriors at Lanier High School. Obviously, we all know the stories about him in Golden State. Came off slow, but just a scoring machine. At one point they almost traded Steph Curry because they had Monte Ellis, but was the most improved player in 2006, 2007. Just a great scorer. Probably should have been in the league a little longer, but played till 2017, but had a solid career, and just everyone knows he's just a professional bucket getter, and solid career for a guy that was picked in the second round, and maybe thought would not last long in the league, and had a nice career. Coming in number 12, another guy in the second round pick, Rashard Lewis. He was a second round pick, 32nd pick overall to the Seattle Supersonics. And he's someone that in today's NBA may be a superstar. 6'10", 6'11" guy who could shoot. It was just impossible to block his shot. Him and Ray Allen were supposed to be that next dynamic duo in Seattle. Then he winds up getting a fat contract, going to Orlando. Mixed feelings on that. Going to Washington, then finish off his career, with Miami. He did win a world championship there. 2-time All-Star, solid career. Maybe people, injuries late, probably hampered his career. And maybe some people think he should have been better. But overall, for a guy who was a second round pick, definitely should have been higher. But I think if he was in today's era, man, Rashard Lewis would just absolutely light up in today's basketball. Coming in at number 11, J.R. Smith, the number 18th pick, coming out of Benedict's Prep in Jersey in 2004 by the Denver Nuggets. Man, J.R. Smith, sixth man of the year, 2-time NBA world champion with Cleveland and with the Lakers. Ended his career with the Lakers, was a sixth man for the New York Knicks. Great career. Another one who get hot at like that. At the snap of a finger, he can get hot. Consistent, but that's J.R. Smith. He was just, guy who could score at will, professional bucket getter too. Great 3-point shooter, especially towards, the latter portions of his career. But J.R. Smith, Jersey, one of those guys I found that a lot, growing up, especially coming out, of Jersey, not too far from me. So J.R. Smith comes in number 11 on my top 20 list. All right, we're going into the top 10. Number 10, another second round pick. We're going with Lou Williams, another professional bucket getter, 3-time sixth man of the year. He was a number 42 pick in the second round by the Philadelphia 76ers out of South Gwinnett High School. What can I say? Bucket. That's all you gotta say. They might have to name the sixth man award after him. Like it probably should. He definitely should have been in consideration for the sixth man of the year award being named after him. But solid to get everywhere he went. Start off his career with AI and Iggy. Goes to the Hawks, Toronto, Lakers, Houston. Everywhere he went, just made an impact on his team, and just can score. That's what he does best, and that's what he's done. That's what it's going to be. His legacy is a professional scorer, and he rounds up number 10 on my top 20 high school of the NBA. Coming in at number 9, Tyson Chandler, the number 2 pick from the Los Angeles Clippers, wound up going to Chicago Bulls. I believe that was for Elton Brand, right? If I'm correct, that's the Elton Brand trade out of Dominguez. Slow start. Another guy's slow starter. Didn't get to see a lot of what he can do in Chicago, then gets traded to New Orleans, gets CP, and then he takes off from there, has a stint with the Bobcats and the Mavs, and winds up getting traded to going to the New York Knicks and making a difference, helping them make it to playoffs, 50-win team, defensive player of the year that year, 3-time all defensive team, all NBA. In 11-12, like I said, 1-time All-Star and a NBA champion. Tyson, at one point, was compared to Kevin Garnett. Obviously, the offense was never, ever close to Kevin Garnett, but defensively was definitely one of the most underrated, rim protectors of our, of the last 20-plus years. Coming in at number 8, Amari Stoudemire, the number 9 pick in the 2002 draft out of Cypress Creek by the Phoenix Suns. Obviously, hell of a career for Stat. Stat was is probably borderline Hall of Famer. Rookie of the year that year. We all know what he did he pretty much ended Michael Lloyd Candy's career with that dunk he had. It was all rookie that year. 5-time All NBA, 6-time All-Star what can you say about Stat? Always have love for Stat because he's one of the few guys that took the challenge to go to New York and try to change the narrative about guys not want to come in. So he did his best there. Obviously, injuries derailed what should be a Hall of Fame career. He was on that trajectory and still could be a Hall of Famer, but he would have been if it wasn't for those knees breaking down on him. But still has a chance. I mean, Grant Hill's in the Hall of Fame, T-Mac's in the Hall of Fame, so I wouldn't doubt Amari's chances of being a Hall of Famer. But hell of a career. He's he was that dude. He was that dude early on. A special player. Coming in at number 7, Jermaine O'Neal. Jermaine, another slow starter. Jermaine was the number 17 pick for Portland. I mean, the first 4 years of this man's career, they just had him on the bench, just rotting Portland. In 96, obviously the famous 96 draft. I mean, but shout out to him for not giving up, and then for Indiana taking a chance on him, trading for him, and him having a nice career in Indiana, which was most of his prime from 2000 to 2008. 6-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA, 2001, 2002, most improved player. One of the more underrated bigs of this generation. Just a special talent on both ends. Could dominate on both ends. Essentially 20 and 10. During his prime years in 2000, 2008. But even in his stints after that, was solid for Phoenix, solid for Golden State, right before they took off, Miami and all that. So great career. Another guy who's a borderline Hall of Famer. Coming in at number 6 on my top 20, Tracy McGrady, Hall of Famer, number 9 pick from the Toronto Raptors, 97 on Mount Zion Christian Academy by the Toronto Raptors. We didn't see a lot. We didn't see the whole bag. Obviously, Vince Carter there took over and all that. But once he got to Orlando, we saw one of the greatest peaks of all time by a player. He was special from 2004. T-Mac was just absolutely dominant. I mean, we were talking about who's better, T-Mac or Kobe. Like, I remember having those discussions in the lunch, in the cafeteria. Like, nah, and I was team T-Mac. I was team T-Mac. Everybody was Kobe. I always going against the grain. I was T-Mac. I'm like, he's 6'9" and does everything Kobe does, but the winning never came. I think that was the end. And obviously he gets traded for Steve Francis in Houston, and him and Yao Ming have some solid years, but can never get past the first round. And that was always just the thing with T-Mac that separated him from like Kobe Bryant. Was Kobe was able to win while T-Mac wasn't. But it still managed a Hall of Fame induction in 2017, a 7-time All-Star, 2-time scoring champion, All-NBA 7 times, most improved in 01. So still there for a guy. And injuries, not having a great supporting cast. I mean, imagine what we could have seen from T-Mac if he was healthier and just had a little bit more supporting cast. We might see the greatest player of all time. That's not even a crazy thing. He might have been the greatest player of all time. But he comes in at number 6 on my list. All right, the top 5 high school players to go to the NBA. We are at 5. Coming in at number 5, Dwight Howard. He was the number 1 pick by the Orlando Magic in 2004, coming to Southwest Christian Academy. I remember a lot of the high school scene there. That's when I was really diving into, and obviously, I remember seeing the game. I think it was him and Sebastian Telfair, who was from Lincoln in Brooklyn. And, seeing it, I'm like, wow, this might be the greatest center prospect we've ever seen. He was special. Obviously, what he did in Orlando was absolutely magical. No pun intended. 8-time All-Star, 5-time rebound champion, 2-time block champion, 2000 NBA champion with the Los Angeles Lakers, 8-time All-NBA, 5-time All-Defensive Player, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. Got to the finals with the Orlando Magic when they played the Los Angeles Lakers. Big part of, ruining the LeBron versus Kobe finals that everybody wants to see. Just one of the more dominant centers. Should be top 75 all time. And realistically, we all know who he is. So, but future Hall of Famer, no doubt about that. Um, just the injuries obviously took a toll on him, especially once he got to the end of that Rockets run. Definitely when he got to Atlanta and all that. But I don't, prime Dwight is special. Someone we haven't seen before. So another great Orlando Magic big, Laker big, but finally culminated in a world championship, with the Lakers in 19 in the bubble. So Hall of Famer. That's all I gotta say. He is a Hall of Famer and one of the greatest bigs to have ever played the game of basketball. He comes in number 5. Coming in at number 4 on my list is the big ticket Kevin Garnett, the number 5 pick from the Minnesota Timberwolves in 1995 out of Fargo Academy. Obviously, we know what he did with Minnesota. Then the big trade, to the Boston Celtics that changed the franchise and helping him win his only championship. Then, finish your career off. Then getting traded to Brooklyn and finishing back off with Minnesota, but 15-time All-Star, 4-time rebounds champion, a 2-time 2008 world champion, 9-time All-NBA, All-Rookie, the All-Rookie team, 12-time All-Defensive player, All-Star Game MVP, 2003, 2004 MVP, Defensive Player of the Year in 08, top 75 all-time, Hall of Famer in 2000. What a career, one of the greatest of all time to have ever done it, and one of the best trash talkers of all time, Kevin Garnett. Coming in at number 3 on my list, I am going with, and I misquoted what I said. Moses Malone is on my list. I'm adding, I stand correct. I messed up on my reading on my notes. I am going to put Moses Malone on my list. Moses Malone, number 3. Number 3 pick. Number 22 pick. In going to the ABA. Moses Malone. What can you say? Tremendous career. Obviously, did a lot in the ABA and in the NBA. Hall of Famer 2001, 13-time All-Star, 6-time rebounding champion. 1983 world champion with the Philadelphia 76ers, all-rookie team, 2-time defensive, 3-time MVP, finals MVP that year when he won championship, 75 anniversary team member. Like I said, I misquoted, my bad, on my that I won't include him. I wound up including him. I forgot I did that. But one of the greatest of all time. I mean, you just hear people talk about him and what he was able to do. Hear Charles Barkley, raving about Moses Malone and all that and how good he was, especially with the 76ers and all that. But had to put him in my top 3 all time. He was just that good and just one of the greatest bigs of ever. Coming in at number 2 on my top 20, Kobe Bean Bryant. The number 13 pick from the Charlotte Hornets. And we all know about that trade and where he wound up getting traded for Vlade Divac to the Los Angeles, out of Lower Merion High School. Spent his whole career with the Lakers. Something we'd rarely see. Hall of Famer in 2020. 18-time All-Star, 2-time scoring champion, 5-time world champion, 15-time All-NBA, All-Rookie team, 12-time All-Defensive team, 4-time All-Star Game MVP in 2007, 2008. Probably should have more MVPs, to be honest. 2-time Finals MVP, 75th team anniversary member, and he's an Oscar winner. What more can you say? Gotta give a round of applause for the Oscar. Obviously, we lost him at way, way too young of an age. We lost a lot of people that day on that helicopter, but losing him at a young age, and it still doesn't feel right that he's not here, but he's one of the greatest of all time. And just hopefully we celebrate him, and make him proud. Everyone makes him proud, in the league and all that. But he's number 2 on my list of the greatest high school to NBA players. Listen, man. Listen, we miss Kobe. All right, rounding off. Number one on my list. Who else? The King. LeBron James. Number one pick in the 2003 NBA draft out of St. Vincent St. Mary's High School to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Got to the finals, in 07 versus Spurs. But, I mean, one more. He's going to make it All-Star team again. He's going to break the all-time scoring record this year held by Kareem. But let's just go through. He was a scoring champion in 08, four-time NBA world champion, assist champion in 2020, 18-time All-Star, which is going to be 19 this year. 2004 All-Rookie, 2004 Rookie of the Year, three-time All-Star Game MVP, six-time All-Defense, four-time League MVP, four-time Finals MVP on the 75th anniversary team, 18-time All-Star, and I think I said an 18-time All-NBA. Going to be 9 All-Star, 19-time All-NBA, and add that all-time league scorer. What more can I say? I think it was pretty easy that he's number one on my list of the all-time, the best high school to the pros, players. That's probably how I should correct it, because adding Moses, I should just put pros, but for the most part. But that completes my list of the top 20 NBA players to go from high school to the pros. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me know what you feel. If I'm missing anyone, where would you, put certain guys at? Please let me know how we feel about this list. I'm intrigued to hear what you guys have to say and all that. But and we might be getting high school kids back into the league soon. So that's going to be very interesting to see how that how that develops and how that works with soaps, because the talent we have in basketball right now is at a all-time high. So going to be interesting to see how that goes. But hope you enjoyed the show. Like I said, again, if you got it, let me know in the comments. Let me know I'm on Twitter, Off the Ball Pod. Follow me there. Let me know in the YouTube comments below who's missing, who should be higher, who should be lower. And I'll be glad to answer and have a chat about that. But that completes the show. That completes another episode of the Off the Ball Podcast. Appreciate everyone for tuning in on this show. Make sure to follow me, like I said, Off the Ball Pod. Make sure to follow the network, OTB_network on Twitter, Off the Ball Network on Instagram. Follow me there. Follow Off the Ball Pod on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that. Follow the YouTube right now. Subscribe, like below, please. Help us out. Trying to get to 400, by the end of the month. Hopefully we get there. A lot of great content going on. Got a lot of betting content, NBA content, football coming up, college football, college basketball. Get a Bucket Podcast. Make sure to tune into that with me and my boy Kev. So much great content going on Off the Ball Network. So please check them out. offtheballnetwork.com. A lot of great articles there. Check out the great sponsor. Like I said, sponsored by SeatGeek. Check that out. $20 off using promo code Off the Ball Network. Got a lot of great sponsors. NordVPN, shout them out. The link's going to be in offtheballnetwork.com. We got to check out all the great sponsors there and all that. But appreciate everyone tuning in again. Be well, be safe, take care. Peace out.
Start spreading the news.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
New York, I love you. I love New York.